All right, working this new little dog, Roxy, and we are introducing place and a leash pressure. So everything is done very slow. It's just turn, pause. My arm is guiding, kind of straight-handed. So wherever I need to guide, the arm is straight. Especially with a little dog, you'll often see me kind of bend over at the waist a little bit if the dog is struggling. But it's just about giving that guidance, that forward motion guidance. Then we pause and we do it again. I don't care about sit or down. I'm doing this for state of mind to help the dog relax and feel good about what they're doing. And so it's just over and over and over again. We do this. And the terms I use is just let's go and place. And I say place right before I take my step and do my leash guidance. So place and then I move. So that way they hear the word, then I'm giving them the information with my body language and with leash if needed. Now we start on this small little cot, and then once the dog gets in a groove, when I'm not feeling any tension on the leash, we move on to the higher one. So see the tension right there? So I had to hold forward leash tension, and then she just came right off, and I let her, no big deal. It's her first time doing the bigger cot. She's very particular about where she lays, and being in the middle of the room, she was uncomfortable. So this was the hardest for her. And it's no big deal. I don't say much. I don't face her directly and put any pressure on her. Here's the actual pacing. She's very nervous of me, and has a decent bite history. So we just go nice and slow. See that pause, and I'm talking to my husband, but forward motion. And then I release it immediately. Now notice when my feet stop, she stops. She got really good about that. I didn't even have to do very much blocking to teach her to stay on the cot because she's so sensitive. Here's another one. See, it gets easier and easier. And I get more and more eye contact, and I'm doing a very calm good, and I'm trying not to twist my hips towards her directly unless I'm specifically telling her to calm down. So I don't want to do that, unless I need to, because she keeps hopping off. And then I mix in an easier place cot to continue to mix it up. Easy, challenging, easy, challenging. That's how you build them up. A little bit of resistance because my husband was moving around as a distraction. The moment she takes a step, I'm off the leash pressure. She actually loved this one, but I wanted to show, and this goes for any place. I was trying to see if she'd take food, but she wouldn't. You can do this with any place, anything you're trying to teach. The first thing that I want you to keep in mind is when a dog is nervous of you, continue to move. The more space you do, the better. See, I even back up because I don't want to put pressure on her. Look, she even lays down. If I faced her directly, she'd fall off. She was so nervous. So I continued to move and got out of her space. Watch how much harder this is. I'm right next to her, and I'm doing pressure out in front of me, and I'm just waiting. The moment she hops on, I relax. This is more challenging. These subtle things matter when you're working with nervous dogs. First, you want to give them plenty of space. Get out of their way. Don't face them directly. Then to see if they can work through some challenges, something like this. And look how great she does. And she loved the spot so much, she did some duration on here really easily. Now this, I wanted to show because it's like up in the air. She gets her front paws, then it's horizontal guidance. I thought this was really important because when you're navigating different types of settings, boy, that directional guidance, only if the dog is struggling, is really important. Okay, so did I mention this dog doesn't like new people, doesn't particularly like to bite? So, trainers out there can laugh at me for wearing a welding glove with a little dog, but when this dog is really scared, frantic, nervous, there's been some serious bites, and I wanted to really put my hands on the dog. I actually flip her tail out. I did some picking up practice, and I was going to do all of that with a welding glove and a slip leash. And so she's uncomfortable with me just being this close to her. So I'm just letting her get used to my presence. And we did this several times. And I always worked up to being able to touch her with no issues. She actually did really, really great, took the glove off. But I'm not going to show you the whole thing because this was really long. This first one was like 20 minutes. But I did a lot of just hanging out close to her, moving my hands around, and just building trust. Now, when you do initially touch the dog, notice how I did a little bit of slip leash pressure. I just wanted her to know, like, I've got you, and if I felt any tenseness in the body, that would give me a lot of information on whether I needed to handle her and do slip leash pressure up in case she was about to bite. But she didn't. She did really good. One of the big things we worked on was massage and pulling her tail out from under her. I always remained facing sideways. I would practice looking at her, and then I would break eye contact first. Just all of these things to try to build the I'm not a threat scenario, even though I'm having to touch you and do this. And it worked really well. Getting her tail out, I did with stages because it's one of her triggers. And I applied a little bit of leash pressure at the same time as doing it. And this is sped up, guys, in case you can't tell. It would take forever to show everything. I did a little leash pressure. I always do that if I'm going to touch a dog that might bite me. Applying slip leash pressure. It just can really help the dog settle. And then when you feel the dog relax through the leash, you can relax your leash. And then we eventually got to no glove needed and massage, even touching her, even doing the line in the middle of the face, down the middle of the face with my finger, and she did really great.